Hey, Falcons and NFL fans, welcome to another episode of NFL Jocks and Pigskins with Tom Pollen. I'm Dave Holcomb, our producer, Chris Smitherman behind the scenes. Got another great show for you today. We're going to kind of pick up where we left off last week with Jon Gruden. We ended talking about him with the last week's show, and we kind of said we weren't really sure if he would last much longer. And lo and behold, it was 2 days later.
Yeah,
I wish the Raiders would have fired him, but he sent in his resignation.
Yeah, why not? I mean, at that point, there was nothing he could do. The Raiders were going to fire him if he didn't step down.
Yeah,
and he knew it. They knew it, and it's just interesting to see all these leak. I mean, they leak one, then all of a sudden you got a river of them coming out, and it actually isn't supposed to be a public investigation, but I would like to. I want to see all the emails released. I want to see all the sewage that's kind of running underneath the NFL, the surface of the NFL.
right.
Because all this does is show you what behind the scenes, how things are, as I say, under the surface. There's way too much sewage down there. We got to start dredging this stuff out. It really needs to be taken care of. You can't have guys making fun of the fact that you're supposed to interview minority candidates, which they were doing. And as I say, Jeff Pash, general counsel for the NFL, is now included in all this.
Yeah, yeah. We'll get to him in just a couple minutes. I want to set up the rest of our show, but we're gonna lead off because it's a Atlanta Falcons bye week. We will talk Falcons. Bear with us, Falcons fans.
We got Falcons.
But since they're off tomorrow, this week we're going to lead with Jon Gruden. We also have Tom's picks against the spread in week 6. Always excited about that.
3-0 on my best bets last week.
There you go.
3-0. So if you picked with Nostradamus last week, you came out ahead of the game.
Yeah.
So 3-0.
So we're hoping for another. You got 3 more picks for us this week?
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So we got that, and then we're going to kind of give a Falcons status report heading into their bye, or they're in their bye right now, and some real bad from this season so far, but some good too. Some real good stuff from last week's win over the New York Jets.
There really was.
Yeah, so we're going to get to that probably a little bit later, I'd say in the second half hour of the show. But we do have a really exciting announcement today. We have a sponsor officially on the show and the channel overall, Unlimited channel, and it is Prize Picks. So that is our new sponsor for the show. We're going to dive more into Prize Picks, their app, in future episodes, but I just wanted to give them a shout out today and say that this video is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the simplest fantasy sports game on the market. It's simple and easy. You can pick 2 to 5 players, maybe in the 3 range falls right in there for you, Tom. You like, I think, picking in 3s, and you can win up to 10 times on any entry.
You don't want to pick too many, because there's a reason why, sports books and picking sites and all of that, why they do so well is they keep the picks down. They don't do too much, and you don't want to do too much. But it's great. I'm on the site. I signed up last night. You got all kinds of ways. You can pick players, passing yards, rushing yards, receiving yards, go over and under, and hey, see if you can beat me, because I'm going to have a couple of picks for you today too. So next week, if you sign up for Prize Picks, code ASU, Atlanta Sports Unlimited.
Oh, that's not at Arizona State. It's
no, it's not Arizona. Yeah, not Arizona State. But ASU is the sign-up code, and see if you can beat me. I'm going to have 3 picks in there. See if you can beat me.
And make sure you use the ASU promo code, and they'll match what you deposit up to $100.
Right.
So
Right.
definitely use the ASU promo code.
Yeah, exactly. So, as I say, I'm going to have 3 picks for you off the Prize Picks site. And we'll see what we can do with it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Definitely fun and really exciting. Exciting that, a little bit short of our 1-year anniversary here on the channel and this show, we've got our first sponsor.
Yeah, it's great. It's fun.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
So let's transition back to talking about, the big sports scandal, really. You can call it NFL scandal, of course, but it's the biggest thing that everyone's really talking about this week in sports, with Jon Gruden resigning for the Las Vegas Raiders. And more of these emails coming to the surface with, you mentioned off the top, NFL General Counsel Jeff Pash and his involvement. Emails indicate that he was very close with the former Washington football team executive, Bruce Allen. That's really where all of this is coming from. Bruce Allen was also very close with Jon Gruden.
Yeah. And it hurts because Bruce Allen, being the son of legendary head coach George Allen, Hall of Famer, it's really sad to see what his son, how his son has kind of followed up George's legacy in Washington. But yeah, a lot of this is centered around Bruce Allen. And a lot of it, again, this started because of the allegations from the Washington Red football team's cheerleading squad.
Right.
But we're getting a lot more. And one thing you have to realize, I've seen a lot of comments this week saying you can't hold somebody. You got to give somebody a chance to make up. If somebody says something years ago, when they're younger, 10 years ago, or early 20s, you can't continue to hold it against them. I say you can, unless you see some kind of contrition from the person who's been doing this, who's accused of all this.
Yeah.
And there not one apology for what he said. Wanted to deny that what he said meant, what it really meant. That's not an act of contrition. I want to see him own up, and let's then go ahead. Then we can move forward with it. But remember, Gruden made these emails. He was 48.
Right.
He wasn't a kid.
Yeah.
Remember that.
That was going to be my point. That, okay, it's one thing to give a 20-year-old a break.
Right.
Jon Gruden was in his 40s.
Yes. And
it wasn't a one-time thing either.
No.
Normally, like if you want to give somebody a break, they did it one time. They said it by mistake. It came out wrong. Whatever silly excuse it might be, you could maybe understand giving someone a break in that case. But Gruden, across the board too. I mean, he had anti-gay language, misogynistic language. He was against concussion, expanding the concussion protocol, and that is something. I realize that not everybody, unfortunately, is as outrageous as I am about misogyny and anti-gay language. However, being against the concussion protocol, I think we're pretty much maybe not everybody. Clearly, Jon Gruden's not, but I think 80 to 90% of NFL fans and people involved in the game and just the general public have recognized that concussions are bad, and that the NFL is dangerous, and that there needs to be ways to make it safer. And Jon Gruden is in the minority of, no, it's okay. We don't need a bigger concussion protocol. Concussion is like any other injury. Just rub dirt on it and go back out there. And it's just asinine that he would think that. And that, I think it just gives credence to the fact that he's just an awful person. He's just a terrible person.
He really is. And that's what's come out. And that's not going to change. I mean, he got caught out. Yeah, the emails started about 10 years ago. But again, anybody who's ever been in a corporate setting knows you don't put anything in an email that you wouldn't want said aloud.
Right. On the corporate email server.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just the fact that I'm losing track of where
Well,
I
there's a lot, to digest, and it's easy to get off track, but
yeah,
yeah, I think what you're getting at is that he was dumb too. That well, I guess the other thing, maybe not just that he was dumb and he wasn't thinking about where his emails were going. And this is kind of what you were saying at the beginning of the show, that you want to see what's being hidden behind the scenes in the NFL.
right.
Jon Gruden felt comfortable enough that he could express all of these views
Yes.
on the NFL email server, and nothing would happen to him. That's the big takeaway from this. Not just Jon Gruden being a bad guy, that the NFL has a culture, at least the front office executives, the people running the business, that this is these are common feelings among those people.
Yeah, they are. That's a great point, Dave. And you're right, exactly right. You nailed it. They felt comfortable enough within that culture to do this, and now they're getting caught. And everybody, and there are people defending him. I just don't get that. How do you defend this?
Are people? I haven't really seen people defending him. Is that like NFL executives or Raiders players? Who's defending him the most?
I've been reading some of the stuff on Pro Football Talk the last week, and you go down to the comments section after Florio writes something or one of their other writers puts something in, and some of the comments are just like, people don't get it.
So like fans.
Yeah, fans.
Fans. Okay.
You just don't understand. How can you be like that? How can you think that way?
Well, unfortunately, I mean, Jon Gruden had to go, and he was going to get fired if he didn't resign. And maybe there are more people that have to go. But unfortunately, Jon Gruden is popular enough before this and now he's going to be more popular among right-wing certain people that share those views that he has, and he's going to be a martyr, unfortunately.
Yeah, he will.
Among those people.
Which is actually why you can't keep this thing centered on Jon Gruden. You actually have to widen the net here. Or else, yeah, you're right. Gruden becomes the martyr. Gruden is going to be the symbol, the face of this entire investigation, which is unfortunate because the misogynist culture in the Washington football team's front office against the Washington football team cheerleaders and other women who worked interns, which came out in the Washington Post last week, interns who complained about that kind of treatment. And they're going to end up getting buried by the fact that Gruden is getting all the headlines. And these people need satisfaction for the demeaning, terrible way that they were treated by these people in Washington's front office. But Gruden's going to be the face for it. He's going to you used the fantastic word, Dave, martyr. And that's the way this is coming out.
I hope that's not the case. I mean, he is going to be a martyr, I think, no matter what. But hopefully the media does enough coverage of other aspects of this story. And I've seen it already that, I mean, everybody wants to write about this. And it's not really a hot take to say that Jon Gruden had to go. Everybody agrees with that. So the media is looking for other angles with this story, and that's a good thing. And they're writing a lot about how they want to see what else is in these emails.
Yeah, that's why the call has come out this week.
We've got a cat sighting.
Hey.
Hi, Darwin.
The NFLPA has come out and said they want to see all of it. And I'm with them. I want to see all of it. Let's see what, because there's a lot of emails that went in and out of the Washington front office. And I want to see what some of these other things said. Who else is caught up in this?
Darwin.
Oh,
I'm sorry. This is a very serious topic, and Darwin wants some pets.
yeah, I know. I know how that goes.
And now the dog wants pets too. He's under the desk. He wants pets.
Yeah, animals don't understand that. Yeah, we're doing serious stuff here. I mean, we're just
very serious.
This is real serious stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but but the problem is, yeah, I hate to take this out of the realm of sports per se, activities on the field, but this is part of it. This, you got to be serious about this because you can't let it pass by. Hey there. You can't let it pass.
Yeah. Right. And that's why I think shows like ours that are sports centric, and of course we want to talk about the on-field stuff, but this is too important of a story to not at least discuss for a few minutes.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's still an evolving story. We'll still see what else has to come out. The NFL has denied leaking these emails. Who's leaked these emails?
I think the NFL did.
So do I, but yeah, I think so too.
I think it was Mike Florio that said, they would have continued to leak Jon Gruden emails until he was out of Las Vegas.
Yeah, he speculated that, but I think based on a lot of knowledge, because Florio's pretty well plugged in to what happens in front offices around the NFL. So, yeah, I believe so too. I think the NFL, they can deny it all they want, but these are coming from somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think they would have kept releasing them until Gruden. The fact that Gruden called Roger Goodell a couple of gay slurs, I think set him up. You got Roger, running against you now. And,
right. Do you think that was motivation for Roger?
That was motivation, sure. I think Goodell probably, said, behind the scenes, not officially, but kind of made it, tacit approval that, let's get a couple of these things out there and show how serious it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's, you don't screw around with the Roger. And I want to see what Goodell emails are out there. Tell you the truth. I would love to see it.
Yeah. I don't think the NFL is going to leak those.
No. Not going to happen.
Yeah.
But as I say, this has touched on more than just the misogyny. It's touched more, it's more than just the racial issues now. It's a whole culture. It's a whole thought process. It's a whole, again, it's the good old boys club. This is what, what everybody complains about. Nobody new gets coaching opportunities. Nobody new gets interviewed for coaching. Nobody new gets interviewed as general managers. It's the good old boys club. They keep just rotating between teams.
Yeah.
So, and this is a good example of it.
Yeah.
They felt comfortable enough with each other, and they felt comfortable enough with each other to say it in emails that they felt like the Rooney Rule was a joke, and that hiring a minority coaching candidates and front office people, was a joke.
Yeah.
And that's why you still have that good old boy club. That culture is still there.
Right.
And again, I see this comment too. This is locker room talk. You don't want this exposed, outside. You don't say this stuff outside. This is locker room talk.
I think a majority of Americans do not know what locker room talk is.
No, not quite.
And it is not putting down a different race or not putting down women. I know men talk about women in locker rooms, but not like that. Not to the point of, well, they shouldn't be referees. Like that's not locker room talk.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I think that's a good way to put it, the good old boys club, rather than putting a political label on it like I kind of did. Yeah, it's just hatred. It's just hatred for a lot of different groups that have been hated upon in the past, and it should not be accepted anymore.
Well, they're fine as long as they can play for you on the field. But that's like, yeah, you don't want them.
Well, yeah, the irony of the Raiders being the first team to have the first openly gay player.
Yes. And yeah, how is Carl Nassib, apparently had to be out for a couple of days to kind of deal with everything that was coming out with this.
He had to spend a couple of days away.
Yeah, he had to spend a couple of days out of practice to kind of come to terms with what was going on.
Well, Gruden was his coach one more game on Sunday. I wonder how he felt about that. I'm sure he'll never tell anybody, but
right, exactly. So, and I don't know, he's playing pretty damn well too.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great player, and he probably had to. He didn't come in as a high-profile player, so I think he had to improve a little bit, probably to feel comfortable coming out and saying that he was gay and knowing that his job was secure.
Right, exactly. It took a while for him to be able to do that. They reached that status, and you can. You reach a certain status, and you can finally do some of these things. You could say some of these things and advocate. Sitting on the end of the bench, there, everybody remembers Michael Sam, but Michael Sam never made it in the NFL. Right. So, that.
And to be fair, I don't think he would have made it if he wasn't gay either. I don't think he was.
Wasn't good enough.
Just wasn't. Yeah, exactly. He wasn't good enough.
No. Gayness had, being gay had nothing to do with it. He just wasn't a good enough player.
Yeah. But there's the other side too. I'm just what I'm saying, that people say that he got cut because he was gay, and not 100% true.
No, he wasn't cut because he was gay. So, but, just firing or having Jon Gruden step away is not going to end this, and shouldn't be the end of this.
Right.
It's time to kind of flip over the rock and see what's crawling underneath it. All the bugs and gunk that's underneath the rock, and try and do something about it.
I hate bugs. That doesn't sound very fun, but it's got to be done.
It's got to be done. I keep thinking that, I said this last week, I keep thinking that we were making progress as a society. And that's why this disturbs me so much, because I thought we were making progress as a society. And there's a long way to go. And it's going to take some work by people of good conscience who come forward and are willing to speak and willing to do this work.
A great way to end it, I think, the conversation. We'd love to hear what you think about the Gruden and NFL situation with the emails coming out. I'm sure we'll return to this topic in the future, and we can read a comment that you have on the show. Next time, if you're watching on replay, tweet at us at TJ Pollen, at DM Holcomb. You can also send us a comment on, below the video if you're watching live or on replay on YouTube.
Yeah. We'd love to hear it. We want to hear what fans have to say. Absolutely. This is your show. So, let us know. Let us know what you have to say. I've been called, if you want to call me names, I've been called worse, and that's my family. So, go ahead and let me know what you think. Or, let us know what you think.
And while we're on the topic of the channel, I want to just give a shout out to the rest of the shows, videos on the channel, especially the Atlanta Braves winning in the NLDS against the Milwaukee Brewers. So they're in the next round, and they have their rematch against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Game 1 this evening in Atlanta. It's going to take place 10 minutes from me. So I'm real excited about it.
Yeah, it should be fun. The Braves, the Dodgers are a powerhouse.
Yeah.
But, you don't count anybody out in baseball. Anything can happen over the course of a series.
Yeah.
And somebody gets hot, and it's usually somebody who's, you maybe haven't thought about all year, but suddenly he gets hot and goes off, and you've got to, you're heading to the World Series. So let's see what happens. I'm looking forward to it.
I think the Braves wanted the Giants, even though, I mean, the Giants are just as formidable of a team as the Dodgers.
They are.
And, having the Dodgers, you get home field as the Atlanta Braves. So I think that's an edge. Maybe the Dodgers are a really great home team. So are the Giants. So you get 4 games at home with the Dodgers instead of the Giants. But
yes,
the Braves have a Dodger problem, I guess, is how I'll put it. And if they want to get to where they want to go, the World Series and winning a championship, they got to
earn it.
You're right. They got to get past the Dodgers. They've been the premier team in the National League. No offense to your Cubs. I know they had a good couple of years there, but the Dodgers have been 8-time division champs since 2013, I think. Won 107 games this year. That wasn't enough for their division. That was the first time they hadn't won their division in almost a decade. And been to 3 World Series, won 1. So, yeah, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And the Dodgers are definitely the best.
Exactly. Yeah, so prove it. Prove it, Braves. It's, don't.
It'll be a very satisfying win if the Braves can pull it off.
It really would, yes.
Very satisfying.
Of course, with me, with the Giants, being a Chris Bryant fan, I wanted to see the Giants too. But, we take what we can get.
I wanted the Dodgers. I want the Braves to win it all, but I really don't like the 2 American League teams. And I don't care for the Giants too much either. So at least I'll have a team to root for if the Braves aren't in the World Series.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just me personally, though. But yeah, I mean,
excuse me.
I don't want to spend a lot of time on the American League, but boy, that's just it makes me want to vomit having to root for one of those teams.
It really does. No, I'm disgusted by the American League, by who has emerged from the American League, and I still haven't forgiven the Astros for the travesty they made of the game a few years ago.
Absolutely.
And I'm not so sure they haven't found a different way of doing it. All right. Just because it's not there. I'm not so sure they haven't found a different way of cheating a little bit. So
I would hope that, the redemption story with the Astros the last couple of years has been Dusty Baker, and the fact that he still doesn't have a championship, and he's like the Marty Schottenheimer of baseball.
Yes.
Very well liked and great regular season success, but no postseason, no world championship. So I guess I'm rooting for the Astros because of him. At least he wasn't involved in the scandal. Alex Cora was with the Astros, and he's managing again.
He's managing, right? I know.
His punishment was sitting out a 60-game season. That was baloney.
Yes,
baloney.
That was it. That's all he had to do. And
they're back at the ALCS.
And he knew he had a job waiting for him when he came back.
Right. AJ Hinch got suspended and fired. And I know he's back in the league with another team, but at least he got fired. Mm-hmm. Alex Cora did not.
Nope. It didn't. So, and to me, that's travesty. And what baseball is becoming is just really disturbing me. Baseball is my first love, and my dad grew up in the Bronx. He was a Yankees fan, and my first games were at Yankee Stadium. We'd go out east to visit family, and I remember going to Yankee Stadium and watching them play. It seemed to always be the Kansas City Athletics, but watching them play. And then, my grandpa, when we moved to Chicago, was a Cubs fan. And I've been a Cubs fan ever since. It's just been the way. It's part of me, And and being a baseball fan, but it's rough to see some of the things that Rob Manfred is doing to the game and some of the things that is being allowed,
Yeah.
and it disturbs me. And I don't know, in a way, I'm very discouraged about baseball right now.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. That's for another show, though.
Yes. Yes.
But you know what's a great place if you love football and baseball?
If you love football and baseball, what's a great place? Oh, it's got to be Chicago.
No, it's Prize Picks.
Prize Picks, yes.
This video today is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks, the simplest fantasy sports, not just fantasy football, fantasy sports game on the market. Check it out. When you sign up this weekend, use the sign-up code ASU. That's for Atlanta Sports Unlimited, and they'll match up to $100. So get your picks in for baseball, football. They have all kinds of different sports covered on the app. Check it out. Prize Picks.
Yep. As I said, I signed up last night, so I want to see how many of you can outdo me on my picks for this week. So,
and I want to hear your picks now.
Oh, you want to hear my picks now?
Yeah.
Now?
Now.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, this has been a difficult week to make picks because it's hard to be satisfied by a lot of games. The Philadelphia Eagles somehow covered the spread against Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which disgusted like thousands of people who picked games.
Okay.
You go for a 2-point conversion when it does nothing for your team. But what it did was...
What was the spread? 6.5?
7.
Oh, 7.
So it would have been a push. But they went for 2.
Oh, that had to have been on Scott Van Pelt's bad. What is it? Bad Beats? Yeah. You watch that segment?
No. I don't get ESPN. I can't afford it.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't watch ESPN much either, but if I happen to have it on and Bad Beats comes on, it's hilarious. It's all of those situations, like late in games where like meaningless plays changing the spread or changing the outcome of the bet, and it's hilarious. Thinking about somebody being so mad over like a last second layup or last week the Cowboys, I don't know if that changed the spread, but they got a meaningless pick 6. Did that change anything against the Giants?
No. Okay. They had already covered. So
right.
That was already.
It hurt me, my fantasy team. I was playing against the Cowboys defense in a real close game.
Ooh.
And that was like the last game of the afternoon, and I was winning by like 4 or 5, pick 6. I was trailing. I still won with Justin Tucker, but barely, because Tucker, speaking of 2-point conversions, the Ravens kept going for 2. Didn't use Tucker on Monday night, but I digress. Anyway, the Bad Beats is a fun segment for Scott Van Pelt.
Yeah, no, I would love to watch it, and maybe I'll try and catch up with it online because it just drives you nuts. That 2-point conversion, you should have seen my Twitter feed after that. Everybody was going crazy. And then the fact that Buccaneers drove all the way down, didn't kick a field goal.
Oh, right.
Boy, right. Oh, God.
Added to it.
Just kill. But, I mean, you got games all over the board. The Raiders at the Broncos. The Broncos have had a bad couple of weeks. Have people figured out Teddy Bridgewater with the Broncos? And you don't know what you're going to get from the Raiders.
That's what I was going to say. This could send their season into a spiral. Or they could rally around it.
Right. You got Minnesota against the Panthers actually falling. That happened last year with Teddy Bridgewater and Matt Rule. They started off hot, and then they started it seemed like the NFL started figuring them out. So it's hard to figure out and which Vikings team shows up. They barely beat the Detroit Lions last week. So it's been tough to pick because you just don't know what you're getting out of some of these teams. Yeah. However, my first pick, we're going to go to London tomorrow morning.
Oh, you're going to bet on the London game.
Yeah, I'm going to bet on the London game.
Wow. Okay.
We are taking the Miami Dolphins minus the 3 points. Miami Dolphins favored by 3 against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are just pathetic.
They're the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, they put the ick in pathetic. So, but the thing about going to London is you really need a disciplined team. And I just don't see that out of Jacksonville right now. You got to be disciplined, do what you need to do to be ready for the game because of the distance you travel, the jet lag going from west to east. Yeah. And I know the Jaguars are familiar with it. They're used to doing it.
Right.
However, I don't know if this year, if that discipline translates and they're able to do it.
Yeah, Urban Meyer hasn't done it.
No, and they've lost faith in him.
Do you see the latest? I don't know. This might be a week old now, but I saw a quote come across from a college friend, a college football writer friend that I have, and Meyer said he wants to have, I think, 200 passing yards per game and 200 rushing yards per game.
Oh my God!
Did you see that?
No,
I think this was a real quote. It just alludes again.
I did not see that. Oh God. It just alludes to the fact that he has no idea what the pro game is about.
Exactly.
He just doesn't. But, they're getting Tua back this week, and I think that's going to be a big thing for them. They're not overwhelming statistically, but historically under Brian Flores, they've had a solid defense. They have not played well defensively this year.
Right.
They have a defense that they can do just about anything against if they are motivated enough to do it. So take Miami minus 3 because A2 is coming back. And in Prize Picks, you want to take a player. You want to take Jalen Waddle. With Tua as his quarterback, he's had 26 targets in 3 games, 22 catches, 167 yards. With Brissett as quarterback for 2 games, 10 targets, 5 catches, 64 yards. Just he has not been seeing the ball under Brissett. But he's got Tua back. With Tua, he's averaging 7 catches, 56 yards. And he is, let me pull this up here real quick. He is receiving yards 53 and a half is the over-under on Jalen Waddle's receiving yards. Take the over. All right, take the over. Jacksonville is a terrible, terrible defense. And the Dolphins should be able to do what they want on defense and should be able to do what they want on offense. And it's just the way it is. So, if you want to have some fun with Prize Picks, take Jalen Waddle because that's one of mine. So,
that Urban Meyer quote, he wants 250 offense. He wants 250 rushing yards, 250 passing yards per game. And in the tweet that I found here from Mark Long, in parentheses after the quote, he says that Urban Meyer is checking the schedule for Rutgers.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable how this guy still
he doesn't get it.
6 weeks into the season, he doesn't. Yeah, exactly.
That's why his players are laughing at him. He just doesn't get it. And he runs a college offense. He's actually trying to run more of a pro style offense, and it's not working. He's not using sets that quarterback Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
Dave. Sometimes I blink, so don't be afraid to step in. He's not using sets that Trevor Lawrence can be comfortable in. So it's ridiculous. Take the Dolphins. Second game, take the Miami Dolphins minus the 3.5 at New England. The Cowboys are the only team this season.
Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, Dallas Cowboys. I'm sorry. Who did I say? Did I say
You said the Dolphins again.
Dolphins. Oh, take the Dallas Cowboys -3.5 New England. The Cowboys are the only team that have covered each of their first 5 games of the season.
Wow. Okay.
So, yeah, very impressive. Dak Prescott is playing out of this world.
I know.
He really is.
Yeah.
It's incredible. New England is doing okay. New England can't seem to score touchdowns. And that's been a big problem with their offense this year. They lead the league in field goal attempts. They are second in the league in field goal attempts from 20 to 29 yards.
No.
Which is deep in the red zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's shorter than the extra point now.
Right. They're not scoring touchdowns. So, and the Cowboys are scoring touchdowns. Points per play, the Patriots are 25th. Points per drive, they're 25th. Net passing yards per attempt with Mac Jones, 27th. Passer rating, Mac Jones, 26th in the NFL. So, there's just so much going against the passer rating for Dak Prescott. He's second in the NFL. Cowboys are second in points per drive. Cowboys are first in points per play. The Cowboys against teams that are currently over 500 are 2-1. So they haven't played a weak schedule.
Yeah.
So take the Cowboys -3.5. Finding a third game was not easy for me. Because, as I said, there's too much that you just don't know what you're going to get. But I'm taking the Rams -8.5 against the New York Giants in New York. The Giants are just beat up. I would not keep this if Saquon Barkley was going to play. Barkley is not going to play. Daniel Jones is going to play a quarterback, but Barkley is not going to be on the field. Galladay is not going to be on the field. He's going to be out. So, and Kadarius Toney has an ankle injury. He's going to play, but he's going to be, how well is he going to play? So Jones is going to have a hard time passing the ball in this game. The Rams move the football on everybody.
Yeah.
They are 2-1 against teams that are currently over 500. So, they played a tougher schedule. They've done all right. They point per yards gained, they're 9th, points per yards allowed 9th. So take the Rams. I think they're a safe bet. As I say, the Giants are just so beat up. I think this is a rough one. So those are my 3 picks. Also, again, my other 2 picks in our prize picks.
Yeah.
Take Khalil Herbert, running back for the Bears. He's going to this week. David Montgomery's still on sideline with an injury. Damian Williams is injured. Take Khalil Herbert, 68.5 yards.
Does Williams have did he test positive for COVID? Or is he injured?
Yes, that's right. He's COVID. That's right. He tested positive for COVID.
Okay.
So Khalil Herbert is going to play this week. He gained 75 yards last week against the Raiders on the ground. His over-under this week is 68.5. Take the over. I feel good about him. He is a hard runner. He is a very good running back. I think if anybody tunes into the Packers and Bears this weekend, you're going to like how Khalil Herbert runs. This guy he's a bowling ball. And just tough to bring down. So, and my final pick is with the Rams. Take Darrell Henderson.
Oh, yes. I like hearing that.
You're playing a beat-up team. You're playing a team that everybody is running against this year. Darrell Henderson's over-under on running yards is 75.5. Take Darrell Henderson on the over. You're going to love it. You're going to, you're going to win your week if you take those 3 plays. And see if you can beat me. Or come up with your own picks. Let us know in the comments. Let me know who else you think might be a good pick. I'll tell you why you're wrong. and you know, and let's see if you can beat me in Prize Picks this week.
When you sign up, don't forget, use the promo code ASU, and Prize Picks will match any deposit you make up to $100. I like those picks. I like the Rams. I got the Rams in my Survivor League this week.
Okay.
And I thought it was a hard week to pick Survivor.
Yeah,
I didn't think there were any slam dunk
there
games.
are a lot of teams that are beat up, and that's the problem. Seattle, Geno Smith is going to be starting this week, which is terrible for me because I got DK Metcalf in my fantasy. Patterson is out on the bye week. Nick Chubb is going to be out this week. Yeah. And Cordero Patterson is on the bye. Mm-hmm. I got nobody to carry the freight for me.
Well, yeah, that's something we could have discussed. I'll probably do it next week. Is the bye weeks have begun, and that's tough for fantasy teams. Yeah.
DK Metcalf's going to have to carry the freight, and Geno Smith and quarterback. I don't know. I don't see it, even against Pittsburgh. But Pittsburgh's fairly good on defense too.
Right. Yeah. The concern is, can the Steelers score enough to win?
Right.
I think DK Metcalf is special, but Geno Smith's probably going to struggle getting him the ball with the Pittsburgh pass rush.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And
that game's in Pittsburgh too. If it was in Seattle, a little bit different. Seattle has such a great home field advantage, but that game's at Heinz Field. People asking, we have a comment from Pantera. By the way, Gremlin, hello. You said hi a few minutes ago. Pantera, people asking, what trade should Atlanta make? My view is trade Ridley for first or 2 2s, Hurst for a second or a 3, a 4, and a 3. Yeah, that's a good segue into our Atlanta Falcons discussion here to end the show. There has been a lot of trade chatter around Atlanta. I mean, probably just indicates that it's a bye week and there's not much else to talk about.
Well, look at it this way. I mean, the Eagles have already begun tearing it down because Zach Ertz is going to Arizona.
But the Eagles have 1 win, right?
Yeah.
And they already lost in week 6, so they're 1-5.
Yeah.
They're 1-6. No, 1-5. 1-5. Okay.
And Pantera, I don't know if I'm ready to start trading and stocking draft picks. And I know it was the Jets last week, but they played a damn good game. They were up 17-0 before the game even started. And Ryan looked sharp. Kyle Pitts looked as good as I've seen it.
Absolutely. I think if you want to argue that it's too early to trade away and tear down this roster, it's Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is emerging as a legitimate threat.
Yes,
and with him, even if you believe that Ridley's not a number 1, which we're in the camp of right now anyway, but with Pitts, I mean, Pitts tore the Jets apart without Ridley on the field. So when Ridley comes back, you hope that he becomes even more formidable. Kyle Pitts does.
Yeah, I think he will. I think it'll be a nice compliment because I think, Ridley needs that compliment on the field. He needs somebody to be drawing attention. Ridley can't be the number 1 guy and be drawing. And actually, he's the number 1 guy. He's not drawing two defensive backs on coverage, and that's a big problem with the Falcons' pass game in the first part of the season. Is you don't have anybody who's pulling double coverage. Everybody is being manned up, and they're not getting open. Ryan has not had a lot of openings. Pitts is finally is making his emergence. He had a heck of a game last week, week before he was starting to emerge. And I think that's going to help open up the field for Ridley. But again, you got to catch the ball too. And I think there were some drops against the Jets that drove me nuts. Zacchaeus for the second week in a row dropped one that was right on his hands.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You're right. And we have to talk about Cordell Patterson too. At least mention him. I mean, he is off to a terrific, terrific start. I know we've talked about him a lot already,
Yeah.
but just if he's able to, he's on a terrific pace that he probably won't be able to completely maintain. But I mean, he's on his way to have by far and away his best season. And even if he doesn't keep this pace, he's still going to have his best season on offense in his career. And when you have Patterson and Pitts, and if Ridley figures it out, and if maybe Mike Davis gets going in the ground game, you really have a what we were hoping before the season, a legitimate, top 10 offense.
Yeah, I mean, the struggle with this team is still going to be defense.
Offense is scoring in the red zone too. I need to say that
good point.
Because we've been so critical of their red zone offense all summer, beginning in September, and they are on fire in the red zone. They're scoring touchdowns almost every time they're down there.
Right.
And that's giving them a chance and gives me hope that this is not a lost season.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's not a lost season. And I know it's been discouraging. It's been a discouraging season. I get that. But it's not a lost season. And I know everybody can say, yes, it's against the Jets. I get that. One thing that really encouraged me when the Jets tightened the game up to 20-17, Atlanta took the ball and went right back down the field and scored the clinching touchdown.
Yeah.
They went down and closed. And that's new for Atlanta this year. They closed the game.
Right. They didn't do that against Washington.
Right. So, that's very encouraging to see that they had that attitude that, the hell with what the Jets did. It's time to get back out there and close this and make it work.
And you have to look at the schedule too, I think. And look, this changes week to week in the NFL, whether you think that the schedule is hard or it's easy or whatever. But you got the Dolphins on October 24th.
Hey, Zozo.
Zozo's here.
Yeah.
And the Dolphins are not going with the bye week after their London game. They're going to host the Falcons next Sunday.
How is that? Why would you do that?
I know teams in the past have elected not to have the bye after the London game. I don't know how they've done in those games, and I don't think that's a good idea.
No,
doing that travel and then playing again the following week. Maybe it'll help the Dolphins in the long run because they get a later bye. They don't want a bye week in October. That's with 17 games now, 18-week season. That's an early bye at this point.
Yeah, they got a week 14 bye.
That's why they wanted the late bye. They wanted the late bye. So maybe it'll end up helping them. But for the Falcons, I mean, this is a must-win game to me.
And the Dolphins are beatable. Definitely beatable.
Right. They're a winnable game anyway. Yes. And they're coming back from a long trip. We think they're going to win. Maybe they're feeling good about themselves, whatever. And then you're 3-3 with Carolina in Atlanta the following week on Halloween. And Carolina got off to that amazing start, 3-0. Sam Darnold looked great, but they've really cooled off since then.
They've been dropping
a couple of weeks until that game. Maybe they cool off some more. I don't know. We'll see. And you got the Falcons having a chance to go over 500 in that game if you beat Miami. And then you do have some tough games. You have to go visit Dallas. You got to visit New Orleans. But Patriots are a winnable game. Jacksonville is a winnable game. You play
Patriots are winnable because Patriots are not scoring points. So
and then in December they host Detroit. So there's like 3 or 4 games. If you get to 3-3, there are 3 or 4 other games that are very winnable. If you win all of those, you get to 7 wins right there. And if you steal a game or 2, you're looking at 500. So my point here is that I would not be looking to sell at this point on the Falcons.
Oh no, absolutely not. And boy, you talk about Mike Davis. That guy is just running. I think it's the offensive line because he's running as hard as he can. He doesn't give up. He keeps his legs churning. He's going. He's really been tough.
Yeah, I love Mike Davis. And
you haven't seen it in the yardage totals. You haven't seen it
Right.
in the stats at the end of the game, but he's running hard.
Yeah.
Very hard.
Yeah. It's hard to say, Davis needs to be more involved because Patterson is playing so well. If you give Davis more touches, you're probably taking touches away from Patterson.
Right.
But I would like to see more from Davis. I wouldn't be against that. I think he's a great player. I really enjoy watching him.
Yeah, exactly. So, I like that. But, as I say, you got the defense that has to make some improvements. And I want to see how that tightens up as the year goes on. I mean, September, you can tell a few things from a team in September. You get a better idea of what they can do as the season goes on. I mean, we're starting to get into the middle of the season here. And we're seeing marked improvement from the Falcons.
Yeah.
So that's something to be encouraged about.
Yeah. And I guess you could argue we're overreacting to one game, but I would say that we really need to be careful not to overreact to early September games now in the NFL. I mean, that was already the case with the 16-game schedule.
Right.
But now with 17 games, I really think that one extra game makes a big difference.
It does. It really does.
And you have the extra playoff team now. That went into effect last year, but so it's not brand new. But you have the extra playoff game or extra playoff team, the extra week to make up for a slow start. I think that really makes a difference. You're going to see more 0-2, 1-3 teams make the playoffs than in years past. And we can't overreact to a bad September because there's plenty of time to get back on track and improve and make a run.
Exactly. This is a whole new season as far as 17 games. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I remember from when the NFL went from 14 games to 16 games. So it changed a lot at that time. So come on, sit down. People don't want to see your butt. But yeah, there's talent. There's talent on offense. God, if they can just tighten up on defense somehow.
Do you agree with me with the schedule that you're looking at these games and are you excited like I am that they get to play Jacksonville? Yeah, they got Detroit. Like these are games they should win.
Right, they're winnable games. They're games you can go in and do something against or do something with. So yeah, definitely agree with you, Dave.
Okay.
I like how this schedule sets up. So don't give up on this team yet. There's a lot of football left to be played in this season. The Falcons defensively, they're 31st on defense points per drive, points per play, which is very far down.
Right.
Points per yard gained on defense allowed. They're last in the league. So they do have there's a lot of room for improvement here on defense.
Yeah.
But you have an offense that can execute. If you can put a few things together in defense, and I think that's one of the things Dean Pease will be working on with the bye week, is trying to get some more cohesion on defense, trying to figure out ways he can get a pass rush. He's got to get a pass rush somehow.
Yeah.
They're still terrible at takeaways. They don't get the ball back enough.
Right.
So there are weaknesses. There are things you can look at and say, well, this team doesn't do very well. But I think the offense is coming together. If you can get a little more out of the defense, I think you can start winning some games here. And
that's what my expectation was before the season, that they would have a very good offense, a great offense, maybe even, and they would struggle on defense. But if they can improve in the red zone on offense and they're very efficient and maybe they have a little bit more of a running game, ball control style than they've had in years past, but yet still scoring, then they have a chance to make some noise. And I feel that way about this team.
Yeah, well, they're fourth in the league in rushing yards per attempt. So, I mean, uh, a team that does very well is well. No, they're. What am I looking at as far as my stats here? All right, still very strong with Cordell Patterson and Mike Davis.
Yeah.
Keep the defense off the field, and you can
Mm-hmm.
still win some games too.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and Matt Ryan is throwing the ball as well as he's ever thrown the ball. He's got so much zip on the ball. He has lost nothing. So, and when you got a Matt Ryan who's at that level, you can win some games that maybe would have slipped by you otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the great thing about having a great quarterback.
He can steal a game for you too.
Right.
So
Sometimes you steal a game.
If you take care of business against these bad teams we mentioned on the schedule, right, and then you can steal a game at home against Tampa or something like that, then you can then right, they'd be in good shape. They'll be in good shape to compete for that last wild card spot.
And Ryan doesn't get recognized enough for the fact that he can steal games. Mm-hmm. He's done it plenty of times in the past. So you got a quarterback who can do that. Don't. As long as you got a quarterback like Matt Ryan, you can't give up on the season. You got to be in on this season.
I 100% agree.
If they move Matt Ryan, in the offseason, then you're in a rebuild. It's done. But as long as you got Matt Ryan, I mean, you have to be in on it.
I think that we could have started with that. That's a great point. That when you have the veteran quarterback who doesn't have many seasons left, you don't want to be trading away players for draft picks, because even if you get those great draft picks, it takes a while to develop them and get them in your system. And Matt Ryan just doesn't have that time anymore. You want to try and get to the playoffs as many times as possible with Matt Ryan.
Exactly.
Thank you for making us a part of your Saturday. Our hour is up. Follow us on Twitter at TJ Pollen, at DM Holcomb. Enjoy your bye week. I love my team's bye week.
Well, also catch my Nostradamus Predicts, footballfromatoz.com. I post all my picks for every game on Football from A to Z. Visit the site. And I'm going to be doing a lot of different writing NFL history. So I would like to see some people give the site a try.
Absolutely. Check out that site. Enjoy the bye week. We'll see you next Saturday.